You have to turn it on because you're not.
This is sounding pretty on to me, so I don't know.
Sounds on.
Matt, how am I?
On.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Turn.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So, shall I do that all over, Matt?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Logan Dodd?
No.
Nope. One Hill.
Yes, present.
All right, so we have a quorum, so we may continue the meeting. We're going to start off with the call to the public. Would anyone like to come forward and speak?
I didn't come with anything to say. I am just a graduate student in resilient and sustainable communities, and I am interested in disability issues and
Okay.
community health, so
All right,
that is why I am here. My name is Andrea
Andrea, good to meet you, Andrea.
What is your last name?
Smith.
Andrea Smith.
And you're Kathy?
I am.
And Kathy Wright is present after all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, no worries. So we have even more of a quorum, excellent. All right, and since there's no one from the public who wishes to speak about issues that are not on the agenda, we can proceed to the first item, which is the discussion of and approval of the minutes from the August 28th, 2023 meeting. Motion?
Second?
Seconded? All right.
Seconded by.
Julie. All right, so the first item we have for discussion is handicap space reinforcement. A gentleman came to talk to us the last meeting, and he said he had encountered some difficulties at Safeway and the post office, I believe, has had some, it turns out, members of this committee. Would anyone like to start off that discussion?
Well, was anyone supposed to talk to the police about enforcing?
Well, we have to, I think, discuss it before we make recommendations, because if we don't discuss it first, then...
Okay, I discussed that we inform the police so that they can
Okay,
enforce the laws.
all right. Go ahead, Kat.
She still wants the door fixed.
Door fix. Okay, that's another issue for sure.
Okay.
So we'll...
That'll be for a member comment.
Yes.
All right. Any further comments on handicap space reinforcement? Has anyone noticed such issues anywhere besides the post office or Safeway area?
Is this, oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say
Yes, ma'am.
that this type of parking lot is very difficult for her to walk on a walker, or anyone on a walker. It's very lumpy, bumpy.
Okay. Has anyone else encountered a parking lot run by the city that has similar issues of access?
I have a question. Are we referring to both post offices, or the one in Old Bisbee or the one in St. Elizabeth?
Primarily the one in Old Bisbee, the
Okay.
one by the library, but if there are issues you observed at the post office by the roundabout, I suppose we can talk about those as well. Kat?
I was just talking about the one on 92.
Very good.
Yeah, the one in Old Bisbee, that's pretty smooth, but,
Yeah.
Yes, Kat?
Is there somewhere we can look up and see how many spaces are to be allotted in places?
I suppose there is.
All that is
Statutes.
online, yeah. And there's that, yeah, and you can easily look up, required, ADA, parking spaces, handicap parking spaces, needed for a certain amount of parking, spaces in a parking lot.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Because in the downtown area, it seems to me like as you come in, drop in between the museum and the big mall, our mall, there doesn't seem to be any. And maybe I'm just overlooking or something, but I never see any there. There's places for a motorcycle. People handicap park in the spaces where it's just striped.
So to
I don't-
clarify, when you say museum, do you mean Artemisia or?
No, Artemisia, I didn't know it was a museum, I'm talking about our
The
historic.
mining
The
museum.
mining.
Mining.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so there, there is a handicap spot on the back side of the mining museum on
okay.
Brewery. There's one there. There's one at the post office. And there's one in the Busy Bee parking lot as well. There's also one in front of the law office, on Main Street,
Right,
next to,
Chris-
so
yeah,
there's
Chris, yeah.
3 or 4 right, close right there.
Right.
Okay.
And anyone else? I was wondering, go ahead, Julie.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say that, I noticed people, posting on Nextdoor about this, issue, and I advised them to, contact the police to do better enforcement, so that maybe if they keep getting tickets, they'll stop parking where they don't belong.
So do we have any other mechanisms available besides, I think we can, many of us agree, like contacting the police about this is very reasonable. Are there any other methods available, like talking to the city council?
I think you just need to talk to the police chief,
Okay.
go directly to the source.
So you're talking about enforcement.
Enforcement, yeah.
Alright.
I'm not recommending this be done, but sometimes this is what I do. If I pull up someplace, somewhere, and the handicap spots are taken, and it's a restaurant or something like that, I'll just go right in and say, excuse me, who's the person who's parked in the handicap spot without the license or
The hand card.
the hanging
Okay.
card?
Well, yeah, individual advocacy is certainly an option. Alright, so I have a question regarding, like, Matt did a great job of rattling off all the parking spaces that were available. Well done, sir. Is this on a city website or?
The amount of handicap spaces? I don't think so, no, we don't have that.
Okay.
It'd be nice to have it on the visitor center website, maybe, for some
Okay.
tourists.
Okay.
No, because I think the locals know, I mean, you know where the spots are.
We do
Yeah.
have, and maybe we can put in, I do have a parking, I worked with the, visitor center, director about getting a map for all of our parking in Old Bisbee, parking lots in Old Bisbee.
Mhm.
So I did that, so we could possibly look at adding the handicap spaces as well, that's not very hard.
That's a great idea.
I will say we are adding another one, it's kinda in front of the Screaming Banshee. We're gonna be realigning the crosswalk that's there by the Screaming Banshee, realigning it and adding a handicap spot there as well.
Nice.
There is one around the corner and up, on the other side of Contessa's, but, there's another handicap spot up there, so they'll be kind of too close to each other as well,
Very good.
so.
Anything else regarding the discussion of handicap space reinforcement? All right, motion to end discussion on that item.
So may,
All right. Next item is somewhat related. That's the discussion of transportation for disabled individuals. Does this mean,
This is what I brought.
does this mean public transit, or does that mean like medical transportation? Since you brought it up, Julie, can you clarify on that?
Well, yeah, I think that, there's a need that's not being met regarding probably both disabled and elderly, where, like, for me, for an example, during the day, I can get around quite easily, but at night, I no longer can see well enough to drive, so it limits what I'm able to do, and because the bus stops running at around that time, it's not even an option to take public transportation. And, you know, I'm on my own helping out someone who has a hard time getting from their property over to where the closest bus stop for them would be. to get their groceries every month. So I think what I had really wanted to try to achieve is something similar to in the city of Phoenix, where I come from. We had basically a dial ride situation where for a small amount of money, $1 or something, the public transit could pick up people that would call, you know, for this special. And then as far as like medical transport, I mean, I don't know beyond that what else we could discuss about that, or how else
Yeah,
we could figure, but those were some of the things that I was talking
Well,
about.
from what I'm hearing, there's the public transport issue, and there's a very much related, potentially, matter of medical transport, which might relate to like services offered by Access or DES. So I would like to motion to divide the question into those two categories.
I
Is that
second.
seconded? All right, very good. Does anyone have anything further to add regarding the discussion of transportation for disabled individuals?
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to add that, you know, the next item on the list is kind of similar in
Yes.
that I think if we were able to get a couple of us on that committee, we could advocate for this.
Well, I believe last time there was some discussion of a liaison between this committee and the transportation
There's
committee. Is
two
that accurate?
openings on that.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's something that's on item 4, but to get, for item 3, for transportation, we do have a, I don't know if it's necessarily called a dial to ride, but it's something like that, but it is only while we are running. So there is something where people can call in and they can get a special pickup just for them. That's something that we do offer. And that you have to call the number, and that number will be picked up in Douglas. They have the phone number for that, and because Douglas runs or hires the employees that drive the buses. So it's their employees, so they do any detours to the route they would be doing. Right now, we don't, since they also, provide the employees for that, there's only 2 drivers, and they would have to hire a third person to try and go into the evening, and, at this point, that'd be something that would be, something that would have to be discussed at council to add to the budget. That'd be additional, and then that opens up a lot where we have to really change pretty much the whole route now, which we need to do out, in the future with the grant we're looking to do, to have a professional come down and go through our whole route and see if there's places we need to be going, places we don't need to be going, and all that, so.
Well, just so you're aware, in my little neighborhood, I'm not even the only person with this issue. There's at least 2 or 3 other people that can't see well enough to drive in the evenings. And so getting around after dark then becomes an issue.
So that would be, and we can talk a little bit more on that with item 4, because they kind of relate.
Yeah,
That's something that with the liaison from this to this committee
Right.
to the TAC committee, or, transportation committee, that can be, voiced, and we can, that could be talk, and Douglas, some of the employees from Douglas come to those meetings, because they're part of this, bus system, so, they could definitely, they'll be there to answer any questions as well.
right.
And to look at possibly in the future of making some changes if that's, something, if we get more voices that say that is even better. So, because if council sees that there's a good amount of people that need it, into the evening, then we can look at
Yeah,
that.
and I've heard plenty of, especially older folks, make the same remark, and my mom would be included in that number if she had any interest in going out after dark.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my question then is, how do we bring together those voices? Does anyone have a connection with the senior center or any? Okay, so
I could talk to Carol White and see.
Carol Loy is in charge over at the senior center, and Kathy has offered to talk to Carol, which is very nice.
Board of Directors of the Center.
Cool.
Right, and Juanetta has volunteered to reinforce that discussion. Excellent. Any further comments regarding the discussion of transportation for disabled individuals?
I would just like to know what that number is so that I can give that to the person I've been helping out so that they don't have to. They have, they're on oxygen and
Number?
Matt had mentioned.
Yeah, if they can call Public Works and, my admin Lorena, will give them that number.
Lorraine at Public
yep.
Works, okay.
Yeah, she can give them that number and website, or, I mean, she might not look at websites, but she can give them that number for, what is it? A diverted route, or I can't remember what it is, but call,
Sure.
dial the rag, call the rag, whatever,
Sure.
so.
All right, anything further regarding item 3?
So I have, committee would like to see if the bus could continue into the evening to provide further service. Anything else we want to add for,
Perhaps publicizing that exists?
so get like, signatures, or?
Oh, well, putting it on the city Facebook, or maybe even in the same location as the, maybe an overall page for disability friendly for access?
After it's approved by the city, you mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we need to do
Or-
further down the road.
So are you saying to where we can get the city to add funds to the budget to
No,
hire?
no.
Oh, okay.
No, just to publicize the fact that it exists.
After it's,
I mean, that could go.
once it's approved by the city and.
Which, to clarify, which one, what did you?
This one that already exists,
Okay, okay,
not the one that.
yeah, and that is on
Very good.
our pamphlets and everything for the bus, that is on there.
Very good.
For any person, if they get the bus maps, it shows, it has the numbers and everything on that. And all that we have plenty of those in Public Works, people can come by, pick those up, and I think they might have them in the buses, I'm not sure, so. If not, they definitely have them on the bus stops, where we have, the routes and everything on the schedule, so.
I have one last question on this item. Do you think it would be a good idea to post on social media to get an idea of how many people this might affect or who might be interested?
I think that would be something that the committee would do themselves, like Kathy's gonna talk to senior center, and people can talk to, some of their, everybody can talk to, neighbors and whatnot, and tell them, hey, comment, or, write a letter, email me, or, my admin and whatnot, and, we'll put it in there, and, we can, and with going to the TAC committee for the buses, that's another good thing, is to voice that in that committee as well.
Good. So, anything else for item 3 before item 4? All right, motion to go to item 4?
A second.
All right. So item 4 is the discussion of the possibility of one of the members of this committee being part of the TAC committee, the Transportation Committee.
Yeah.
Anyone want to lead off on that discussion?
I just wanted to say that I believe, if I'm not mistaken and things haven't changed, that there's possibly 2 openings instead of just 1. Because the last I had heard, there was one for a member of the disability community and one for a member of the public in Bisbee. Do you know if that's still accurate?
Yeah, that is accurate. I know we have one lady that is on the committee that is a resident, so I think she's filling one of those. It's not the disability, it's just a regular resident.
So one has been filled?
It has been,
Okay.
unless we're talking about two different, people, unless, I'll have to look at that, I don't have that information with me, but we can definitely, look at two, and then if there's only room for one, then the one.
Right, I just thought that there was some vacancies on there and. I
Yes,
didn't
there
know-
is.
I didn't know if it was one or two at this point.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, we don't have a member within the disability community, so that's definitely is one that we don't have at this
Right.
point.
So when does that committee meet?
Well, it was, scheduled for 1 o'clock today, we ended up having to cancel that one, but, so it's usually, same time, every 3 months or something like that, just like this one.
Does anyone have any interest in potentially joining that committee?
When does it meet?
Well, right before this one, it sounds like every 3 months.
Yeah,
roughly.
every 3 months,
Yeah.
yeah. Pretty much, yeah, every quarter, pretty much.
I would be willing to give it a shot.
Thank you, Kathy, for considering the option. All right. Any further comments regarding item 4?
I believe you complete that application and then, they submit it to the.
Yeah, Miranda would be who you
Any-
talk to,
yeah.
Would be
yeah.
the one to
Yeah.
talk to.
or Diana Williams also.
All right.
I've been down too many of these committees. I know the works.
All right. Any further comments on item 4?
Thank you, Kathy.
All right. Motion to move on to item 5.
So moved.
All right. Discussion of the visitor center becoming autism certified. I believe I had mentioned that in connection with the Benson Community Center having such a certification. Does anyone else?
What does it entail to have it autism certified?
That's what I was wondering.
That's what I was wondering.
Because it's in the building with the mind tour, and it's, I mean, like, I always go in there like this, because there's just so
Yeah.
much going on, and there's so much noise, so I don't even know if it's possible.
I brought this up last time and sent you an email about how Benson went about that and where you can go to get that certification, but I don't know, the process, because you have to, contact that organization.
I don't have like conclusive information from the folks in Benson, but I will be there on November 30th as part of my chess program, so I will be sure to get a hands-on experience of what
What
that looks like, what that means at that time.
I will tell you,
Yes, sir.
with the visitor center, the city is working on relocating that to, the WIC building, or the review building, I should say.
What building
On
is?
On Main
It's right by the
Street,
library.
right next to the library.
It's got the review sign.
Oh, the Herald, okay, gotcha.
Yes, Harold, sorry.
Bisbee
Yes.
Review,
The
gotcha,
review
gotcha.
building, I don't know when that's taking place, because there's a lot of work that still has to be, that's something that, they'll be there for a while still, but, that is something that, the city is looking at in the future.
Well, there was an organization that can give you the specifics as far as what that means, and they're like autism.
Yeah, I have the link right now.
You know, one thing I think would be good, because we'll definitely need to do further discussion on this at
Of
our
course.
next committee, is to, I think it would be good to have the, visitor center director join that meeting.
I will invite Melanie, yes.
Heather?
Heather.
I mean, I thought you meant the visitor center in Benson.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I meant our visitor center. I mean, that might be good too,
Yeah.
possibility,
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
yeah.
The website to read about the certifications and how to get it is certifiedautismcenter.com.
Okay, can you send that to Matt? Excuse me.
A little slower.
I believe I sent an email to everyone with that. did I?
I
Certified
don't have.
Hold on, hold on.
autismcenter.com, and I will,
Certified Autism Center,
.com, and.
at least got it written down on the,
And then the reason why I haven't emailed anyone about that just yet. It's like the theory of such certifications, and my experience of having written about disability, accessibility, and accommodations it can be different from the implementation. So
Definitely.
I will get back to y'all and with a report regarding what I experience when I'm there in Benson on November 30th.
I sent it to you.
Okay, thank you.
And I put it in when I found it.
Okay.
Very good, very good.
So it definitely help to have more information.
And that'll be in our,
Specifics.
That'll be in our action agenda for the next meeting, so it's there, so.
Very good.
Wow.
Would anyone like to add to the discussion of the visitor center potentially becoming autism certified?
It is ideal, but we definitely need more information. And I think that
Yeah.
once we have more information, we can have
Yes.
a more informed conversation.
Agreed. Well said. All right. Motion to move to item 6.
So,
I second.
All right. You're good at that.
Say my first already out.
Yeah. All right, so discussion on removing the crosswalk conjugated domes, and I'll go ahead and say, from what I understand, that would be illegal, basically.
yes.
Yeah.
Those are legally required, right, Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, like I have to put them in, anytime I'm changing the crosswalk or anything like that, I have to put those
Okay.
in.
Wow.
It sounds like this person from the last meeting that you were talking about, Julie, that you had to help, with the
Yeah, I was
It's,
gonna mention, I don't know if this is just a one-time thing that I witnessed, or
I
if
think-
this was an issue.
I think
well,
that
because
was-
and I've had ADA, different training with that, not in huge detail, but, in like conjugated domes and how, with how I'm supposed to, do it with the city. And those are designed specifically to fit wheelchair, wheels through them. So I could see how, also, if they got turned or jostled, it could be where it could get a little stuck that way too, but they were designed specifically to fit wheelchairs through them.
Right.
So maybe, is it possible, I don't know, it's like, never mind, it's not possible. I'm thinking for people that need help getting around Old Bisbee, if there could be, that's like the police's, I think it's a police issue.
What?
Like if somebody gets stuck, what do? Like is there someone they
Who
can
are you
call?
gonna call?
Who you hook up?
Yeah, like what do you do? How do you help them?
Well,
If Julie wasn't there, what would have happened?
Somebody else, hopefully.
So-
It's a neighbor helping a neighbor, really.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
comes down to.
So I'm sorry, I was thinking out loud and.
No, yeah,
It's
that's,
a legitimate concern, yeah.
I've helped a lot of people.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Just stop and help.
Yeah, I just didn't know if this was, a one-time thing that I witnessed, or if this is an ongoing issue, because I'm not in a wheelchair, so I didn't really, I wasn't advocating for them to be removed, but I was thinking along the lines of, maybe they're just not sized correctly, or, something along those lines, like, is this an actual real problem, or is this just something I witnessed once and it's not really an issue? And then B, if it is an issue, is there a way to, be ADA compliant and make it better for them? And I don't know the answer to either question.
yeah, I will bring it up to, I'll try and remember, I'll put it in the notes, bring it up to our city attorney, and even, I have conversation with the ADOT engineers, so I can talk to them. Because, these are everywhere in the United States, everywhere in the world, pretty
Right.
much. This is what, because before they had, what are they called, it's all conjugated domes and truncated domes, I've heard two different things. Before these were put in, they used to have the ones with the lines that crossed, so that the blind could feel that. Now they went from that to this, to where it It's supposed to help everyone, and be different things for different people.
If you want to read
So-
more about like this kind of accessibility by design that Matt's talking about, you can look into universal design, designing with accessibility in mind from the start, and I would be happy to recommend books if anyone is so inclined.
There may be something though, because having just come out of wheelchairs myself,
Ah,
there's different sizes of wheelchairs now. Originally, they had these monstrous things. Well, I live in a little teeny 1908 home here, and when I needed a wheelchair, it was a smaller one. And they get smaller and stuff,
okay.
so people can, you know, get around in places that are small. I don't know if
Yeah.
this would be something ADA
Well,
would have to take care of,
That's a
because that's
reasonable
where
question,
they would
because
have to change the,
the law may originate before what you just
Exactly.
described, so
Well,
that's,
And then, yeah, it's crazy, cause, I mean, it's not cheap to put these in either.
no.
These truncated domes or conjugated domes, and they're, like I said, they're everywhere, every corner, all across the United States. And it's like, how do you change I mean, because everybody was like, we were always, all the, you know, governments and everything saying, this is what you do, this is what you do, and that's what everybody's been doing for the last 15, 20 years.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's
all
hard
right.
to figure out what's best.
So I have,
Yes, ma'am.
a question then. So Julie, you've noticed someone having difficulty once with the
Right,
your, what
once.
do you, once, okay. Any other areas of Old Bisbee, have you noticed difficulty with someone that needs a wheelchair or mobility device to get around?
I haven't noticed it elsewhere, but I also don't live in Old Bisbee. I'm in one of the other areas, so I'm not up there all the time,
Well,
Okay.
so I don't know.
well, it's not related to the conjugated domes,
No, it's not.
or my future hovercraft solution to that. Bisbee hovercrafts and those tours, look out. So I'm an avid walker, and I've noticed that it's not necessarily just crosswalks, but around the Vista, since I live in Warren, there are some quite uneven areas. I have not mapped them out yet, but I think for folks who live in that area, that is a related concern, because if you're in a wheelchair, that's a real pain to deal with. I haven't seen a lot. I've seen some similar things on occasion in Old Bisbee, but I think it is worth looking at least by me on an individual basis.
Yeah, that's,
Because we are getting a lot of, like, as usual, like, what was it, Travel Lemming and other sources saying this is the best place ever, so it's worth looking at.
Yeah. yeah, we have a lot of problems with, you know, in the vistas,
Mhm.
because of how many trees are down there. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
the
that's
biggest
what
thing. And then we go to fix it and put in new sidewalks, and we have to
Whack-a-mole.
cut out the roots, and then everybody starts yelling at us. It's like,
Save the tree.
we gotta do something, I mean, gotta do something.
Yeah,
So we can't have, I mean, we do have a lot of lifts and stuff all over in that area. And that's one of the things is we cut the roots, or we have uneven sidewalks.
What about putting, an adjacent or an analogous sidewalk next to the regular sidewalk, so you don't have to cut any trees? Of course, the street will be a little narrower, but that way you
and
might.
then you'll have 5 sidewalks within 10 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Which would be kind of funny, but who knows?
Yeah, and then it comes down to funding to do all that. We have replaced a lot of sidewalks on the Vista, through the years, and even in the park in Lower Vista, and we're continually, as they get bad, I know we have a cone over one area
Okay.
in Lower Vista where it's just bad, and we just need to put a cone there, so people know
Okay,
what's
yeah,
up, so.
I've noticed that.
So yeah, that's something that we've been slowly trying to get at when we can.
Okay. Is there a schedule for looking at it? Because it doesn't sound like it's a well-known issue.
Yeah, I mean, there, not a schedule,
Every month?
because we've, like a couple months, we replaced, some by the rose garden. And then, like 6 months before that, we replaced one, you know, on, in front of some houses across the street. So it's usually when people call in and ask for it, we'll do that. And we have just gone down and done that, when we can, because it's hard to do everything at one time.
Yeah.
So,
All right, any further comments on the discussion of conjugated domes and related affairs?
I'll just say that my son came for a visit recently, and he pointed out to me, and he's, you know, young kid, he can get around easily, but he was really surprised by how there were, you know, like the sidewalks up in Old Bisbee, and how there was a lot of opportunities for the disabled to have a difficult time getting around, and mentioned it to me because I had said, you know, I'm on this committee, and he's like, you know, there's a lot, he pointed it out, and I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
bring it up.
yeah, there's room for improvement everywhere.
Yeah.
We
It's also a
also,
40-year-old city, so.
Right,
yeah, but
right.
we have retaining walls falling everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Old Bisbee's nothing but retaining walls, so, on top of that, so we
Yeah,
have that, plus trying to pave roads, fix sidewalks, do signs, except, you know, so we try to do things, you know, a little bit at a time as much as we can.
sure.
So, now that we're getting close to being done with, street paving, because I think we've done about 90% of our street paving in the city. Once we are complete with that, we're gonna probably transition and look at possibly sidewalks, doing that type of stuff, looking at adding more sidewalks in the town, in the city.
I think that would help a lot.
Very nice, so,
But all that takes time and engineering and all that stuff, so.
Right.
naturally. All right, any further discussion of item 6? All right, move to end discussion regarding item 6 and move on to members' comments.
I second.
All right, seconder. Would any members like to comment on any of the foregoing or anything else?
Just any random comments?
Yeah, like my hovercraft idea? Sorry.
I love that.
Kat, go ahead.
Yeah, they paved my street, which is good, but they didn't put the speed bumps back.
Oh, isn't that annoying?
Very.
I called the city about that.
Oh, you did? What did they say?
I never got a call back.
Oh,
Cause they're
What?
busy.
Really? I'm sorry. That was probably my fault.
it's you, it's Matthew
It's-
Gurney. Hey, you told me they were gonna replace them.
Yes, we are.
When?
Okay.
When we
It's on the
can.
list.
Right now, we've been paving roads,
Okay,
so, it's probably gonna be, and we're getting to the cold season where we can't do it, it's probably gonna have to wait until spring. So,
Yeah, people are like, Royce is not my street. And down the
Same.
street. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's
It's like a
scary.
freeway.
Yeah, it's really
The
scary.
people on three-wheelers, yeah.
yeah, we are gonna be putting them back where they were and, you know, doing that, so.
Yay.
We will be putting those back.
So any further comments on the drag racing without the speed bumps or anything else? All right, does Mr. Matt wish to make any comments?
I don't think so. I don't have anything at this point.
All right, so future agenda items.
Yes.
Juanetta, you said yes.
Oh, yes, future agenda items.
Okay.
I'm waiting for.
Oh, you second the,
Second,
Move
okay, very good.
Yes.
So I thought last time I had suggested, maybe I'm misremembering, that we fix the darn door.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna show up here like in a dark tracksuit and like do this. Like,
No, that's something that
I know.
I know about, and
Okay.
we talked about,
You're slammed
we
with
have
the
a lot
paper.
of things going on right now.
Okay.
I do have a new facility maintenance employee starting, which we've never had before.
Go.
Well, we haven't had in like 13 years or more.
Okay.
So Yeah, he's starting, so he's gonna be able to start helping us on doing some of these things. So he will be getting to that.
Okay, very good. So, so the future agenda items are, as I understand, are a continuation of some of the agenda items discussed today? Is that
So
right,
which
Matt?
one?
Can you run through those for us?
Yeah, so I'm thinking, discussion on, which ones do we wanna move forward? I'm trying to,
I think.
visitor center being autism certified,
Yeah, I'll report on that, and before the,
and then what else do we want on the next one?
reaching out to the police regarding the enforcement of handicap spaces.
Okay, so
And
we'll keep
perhaps-
that one on there.
Perhaps not us committee members monitoring them more closely on an individual basis. You're welcome to email me about that and take a tally. And then transportation, that seemed to come down to funding. I don't know that there was much else there. Kathy's going to potentially join the TAC committee. Yeah, and I think that's
Yeah, so 1 and 5.
1 and 5, yeah.
Okay. Any other future agenda items that, how did that come
Well,
up?
I think we should follow up with item 3 now that we've addressed item 4, right? Because didn't that need,
Well, there were different components of that. I think I had moved to divide the question into public transit and then potentially health-related transportation.
right?
So which part of that, which of those items did you have in mind?
I'm still talking about, I'm not sure if it was 1 or 2, but the one where, you know, because we're gonna now be talking to we have somebody on this committee, we'd like to advocate for that nighttime person.
Well,
So,
that's a little ways off from what I understand. I think first we have to liaise with the folks in that committee
Right,
to see what's going on. From what I heard from Matt,
yeah, that's nothing that can be done
Yeah.
in this
oh,
fiscal
sure, but
budget.
that's for the future item.
yes,
Yeah.
that's that's pretty distant future, I think.
Yeah, that could be,
More than 3
Yeah.
months?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
because the city of Douglas has to be involved, right?
Yeah, city of
There's
Douglas has to be
employees, so
involved.
that's more than just one meeting.
and then we have to put in for a grant to get the whole system surveyed.
By a professional.
Yes, so, and then that grant stuff is coming up, I believe, in the spring, so.
If I'm accepted to the TAC committee, would that be an agenda item for a report from them?
Yeah, that would be
If they meet,
nice.
you know, prior to that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
their thoughts
Okay.
on the matter would be lovely, thank you, Kathy.
And also, since I'm gonna be talking to Carol about seniors needing
Oh, yeah,
either
there we go.
general transportation or medical transportation, and if they would like to see the bus.
Transportation after 5
Right,
and related medical transportation
Okay.
issues.
I
That's
should
right.
say that
Yes,
that is a conversation the senior center has had for a while. We have been, the senior center has looked in and tried to get individuals to volunteer to provide transportation, okay? And because this is a long-term conversation that involves insurance and it involves money, etc. It continues to be a long-term conversation. We don't have the resources or the background to resolve this quickly. But it is an open conversation that the senior center is having.
But it is a need, right?
It's a need every place in the US, yes.
Yeah.
I just-
Because of public transit is
I
generally.
just wanted to make sure it wasn't like just a couple of people in my neighborhood.
No, no, it's very
Yeah,
common.
yeah,
Very
okay.
We want to acknowledge you for bringing it up and continuing to bring it up because the majority of the citizens in the greater Bisbee area are over 55. So
Right.
we recognize that there are limitations to mobility and so it is an ongoing conversation.
If it's possible, I would like to join in on that conversation at the senior center as
Mhm.
just a personal level.
We don't have Lyft or Uber here.
No.
is there any I guess because of our demographic, there aren't enough people, is that, that's what I heard, I don't know.
I don't think it's just moved into this area. And
So-
it could be demographics as well.
Okay, I'm wondering if there's like an independent company that does something like that,
There are,
We
but
could-
they're doing it under the table, you know, given rides, so.
well, I know in Bisbee
Yeah.
they are, and they
So-
really need to be stopped, because they should not be doing it because they're not insured, but that's not what I'm talking about.
No,
Huh?
I am.
You are?
Yes, I am.
And, no, not you.
Well,
I wasn't talking about you.
well, you can't generalize anything.
No,
because
somebody else
I
is
have done
doing
that.
Well,
From the moment I
This
started.
is for a future.
That sounds like it's a future discussion.
No, I'm just talking about like a company like Uber or Lyft that we can utilize, not, you know,
Well,
our
that-
neighbor down the street that needs an extra $5. That's not what I'm talking about.
That would be a more transportation related matter?
Yeah, and we can, that's something we can, and I have on here transportation and transportation after 5.
And it always helps when we come back. I think this is excellent. We have all of these issues to discuss. And for the future, to bring some more information for Uber or somebody like that in transportation. If someone on the committee wanted to do some research and get some more information
Yeah.
about.
And I have plenty of graduate level research experience, so
Okay.
I'm happy to assist any of you all in such efforts.
Okay.
At this time, we don't have a next meeting date yet. That'll come out in the new year, or later in December, so.
So
All right.
still-
Anything else whatsoever? Finito.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
Second.
Third.
Okay.
Who's second?
I was the first second.
Everybody.
Who's on first?
Who's first second?
Renee second.
Renee is the best second.
I'm like-
I'll admit it.
Okay.
Okay,
Designated
I got it right
second.
down, so. All right.
13. Oh, my pleasure. How did you enjoy
Kathy, I
the
didn't-
meeting?
Huh? I didn't mean you.
I missed
Feel
season
free to
2.
come by,
I know.
John.
Oh, okay.
Matt,
I
Matt,
just-
I've alluded to, there are plenty of other meetings
It's
to
kind of
attend.
crazy.
You wanna get
I
a better
have to
picture of
be
what's
here
going
down
on
with
around
those
town.
disabled, but, when we first moved
Thank you
here,
for coming by and
I talked to the previous and the previous, people, the directors at the bank. Are you also on transaction?
Yes, I have 6 committees.
Yeah,
And
that's
I always have my
That's
phone
impressive.
in case of
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
And I go,
I asked what they are.
in fact, and I.
yeah, I have, well, actually, one of them might go away, but I have, so, this one, I have
And see that,
the transportation committee, I have streets and infrastructure, I have airport committee, cemetery committee. That must be the last one.
You are.
But yeah, I can't remember the last one.
Okay.
So, I think the streets and infrastructure might go away, for me, and they might consolidate in our planning and zoning committee.
Michael was
So.
the
And brings you down here.
Thanks.
Well, I just recently moved up there, I'm a remote student.
Okay.
So, yeah, everything I'm doing is online.
So much, with community research.
Oh, okay.
Doing my bachelor's right now.
Cool. Very cool. I've been actually graduating
When is
this
it gonna
spring.
get done?
Yeah, I am a get done kind of gal myself.
Yeah, actually,
I appreciate your sense of urgency.
No, it's fine.
I
deserve it.
definitely share it.